This entitled aunt and uncle are working hard to be the most entitled ever, so much so that they can't even respect their mother's dying wish. What awful reasons are behind their selfishness? Happy birthday, today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show.
I have an entitled aunt, which made my uncle also entitled. The entitlement started when I was in 6th grade, but that's a different story. My uncle rarely visited my grandma, even though he just had to walk 2 minutes to go to her house. I knew this as my mum and I lived with her for at least 9 years. He only came to visit her if she needed help with something me or my mum couldn't do, and if he got paid to do it. When my grandma passed, my mum was devastated. She was at work and got a call from the police, but my mum couldn't answer. She called back when she got home, when she had the chance to get the call. She didn't believe it at first. I was told the same when I got home from school. This was worse on me as I was the last person to see and talk to her from the day before. She had died the night I saw her, but wasn't found dead till the next day. She died November 30th and was found December 1st, 2016. I miss her. When they wanted to know what to do with her body, Uncle wanted to do the cheapest stuff possible, just so he could get more money. My mum wanted to let people know what happened and honored my grandma's wishes to have an obituary just like her dad, my great-grandpa. Uncle refused. She also wanted a thumbprint necklace and wanted one for me. Uncle refused. But the person who was helping them decided to do my mum's wishes, as she had the right to this stuff. My grandma wanted to be made into ashes, as if she were to be buried. She didn't want family to stick around to one area. They had the option to buy an urn from them or buy our own, as the box they give us to transfer the ashes to the container is plastic and flimsy, and would break easily if held wrong. My mum didn't even buy an urn from them, as she already had one on its way that my grandma would love if she saw it, and had a mini one as my great-grandma wanted a little hand urn. So when great-grandma would pass, she could have a little of my grandma with her. My uncle's idea of a proper urn? The plastic box they give you. My mum offered Uncle to buy him an urn, as they hadn't gotten the money split in half, as not all my grandma's bills were paid yet. He says the one they give us is good enough. This took a span of 2 weeks. They finally got the money split in half, but my grandma had a plan on how her money would go. When she retired, she had a plan where she would be paid a certain amount a month, and this plan would last 10 years. She was retired for almost 2 years, so when she passed, this plan was still going on, and is still to this day, but it's split in half so it would go to my mum, and the other half would go to my uncle. So when my mum got her money, her car had broken down. It was a 2008 Volkswagen Beetle. Slug's bug is what it's also known as, and had gotten into a crash several years ago that wasn't her fault. Since that crash, her car never worked the same and malfunctioned. It was done right after my mum got her portion of the money, as it cost more to fix her car than to buy a new one. She decides to invest her part of the money into a new car, a 2017 Hyundai Elantra. Hope I spelled it right, it's hard for me to think of the right spelling. Not quite, but I knew what you meant, as it was right before Christmas. Now it's February 2017, as the whole family wanted to meet up. Big family. Big. It was at least 30 people. Cousins, second cousins. My grandma's brother had almost 10 kids, if not more. Can't remember all of them. To honor my grandma. It took months as we all had to plan ahead of time and take the time off. Uncle hated this idea, as he and his wife, entitled aunt, didn't want to waste money on this. Cause we got a private room so we had the time to honor her at my grandma's favorite place, Pizza Ranch. Uncle tried to make this all about himself, cause my cousin didn't want to come, cause she had been having back pains that doctors couldn't explain. But my second cousin and my mum knew what he was like and didn't care. We got to see some of the family in years and got to meet some new ones. Some had kids, others got married. When some family members learned about my car, they wanted to see it, as it was new and nice. She was fine with it. Uncle saw this and walked over. My mum showed some of my second cousins the push to start and rear view camera feature in the car. He hated the fact my mum was getting attention. So when he walks over, he states, "It's a good thing Mum died, wasn't it?" This made my mum mad, as she knew my grandma would want her to invest into a new car, since her old car was pretty much a junk pile on wheels. My mum states back, she would want me to invest in something that would help me as my old car broke down. My cousins couldn't believe my uncle would say something like this, just so he'd get attention. He got death glares from the rest of the family, 4 generations worth, as my great-grandma is still around to this day, 95 years old right now. Once he realized he wasn't going to get the kind of attention he wanted, him, my aunt, entitled cousin, different story, and nice cousin left. The rest of the time was enjoyable. I haven't talked to them much since, and his wife hates my side of the family. He refuses to go to little family reunions, just one of my mum's cousins, her kids, me and my mom and great-grandma, just cause he refuses to see my mom and how well she's gotten. The last time I saw him, he was telling my mum's cousin how bad my entitled cousin was getting with her back. Still can't be explained, for who knows how long. Honestly, I think they could be faking it when I saw her. She seemed completely fine, but she also seeks a lot of attention that makes me think it's fake. Firstly, thank you so much for submitting your story on the subreddit. I can't imagine an uncle so entitled that he thinks the attention at a funeral should be all about him. How could he say something like that? It's so insane. I mean, I guess it brought him attention, but not the kind he was looking for, so he gets what he deserves. So, as usual, a bit of background. I live in Bavaria, Germany, and during Advent it is very common for cities and villages to hold a Christmas market over at least one weekend, and so did my hometown. It is held at our local school, gym plus outside the classrooms, and is joined with the annual Cribs exhibition, which are made out of wood almost entirely. It was held Saturday and Sunday, and my mum was one of the people baking one of the over 25 different cakes and pies that was sold during these 2 days. The place was packed on both days, and there was a reservation from a fresh mother that had their child's baptism just an hour before the market would open on Sunday. They called in before the weekend and said there would be around 20 to 25 people coming in. This mum is the EM of this story. Let's meet the cast. EM, don't you know who I am? M, my mum. CW, co-workers of my mum, all female. CM, craftsman, all male. Onto the story. Around 2 PM the market opens. The people start pouring in, and it was getting clear quite fast that it would be a full house. A mother with a baby, maybe 1 month old, was entering the seating area where my mum and some other women would serve coffee and cake. Following her is a group of over 20 people, clearly more than 20. She asks for the reserved places, and one of my mum's co-workers shows them to their area on the tables. And then it started. Where is the menu? What menu? For the cake? You can come over to the cake buffet to pick out any cake or pie as well as your choice of coffee at our buffet table. Wait, do I have to get up again if I want my cake? That is not what I agreed to. It wasn't. They didn't agree on anything except reserving the seats. EM gets up anyways, leaving her newborn on the table, mind you, to walk over to the buffet table. She looks for not even a minute until, where's my cake? What cake are you looking for? Or do you want a pie? The cake I wanted! You should have it! Again, nothing ordered other than the seats. We only have what you see on display. Goes over the kinds of cakes that they have. Prices are printed here. Same with the coffee. What do you mean prices? It should be for free! Ma'am, we have baking these cakes for the market, not for you, and no one said you could get free cake or coffee. But it's my baby's baptism. I deserve to get a free cake for that celebration. Miss, if you won't buy, please move along so others can buy cake and coffee. No, I want to speak to the one in charge of this. Now my mum was the one who happened to take the reservation, and therefore is in charge of this. That would be me. I am also the one to take your reservation, which we normally would not even do, due to the fact that we are quite well visited, as you can see. At that point, the gym was so full of visitors, they could only walk in lines. 1 line entering and 1 line exiting the gym halls. This made EM use that bit of brain she has, but I guess capacities are very limited for her. Okay then, I'll have this cake and a coffee. Very well. Mum fills up a cup while another co-worker hands her the piece of cake after she's paid. Enjoy your stay. I could if you people wouldn't allow these grotesque abominations to be displayed here. Yes, she shouted that last part. This got the attention of the crib makers. Obviously she was bad-mouthing them quite a bit before she came to the buffet table, as half of them, still 10 to 12 people, stood up from their seats and walked over to the counter. These guys are all craftsmen, and I mean men. No female stood up, and quite skilled and proud of their work. Listen, lady, we held our mouths during your initial talk about our cribs, but if you think you can also order us to take down our work, you will find your face on the donkeys and oxes of our cribs next year. How dare you speak to me like that? Don't you know who I am? God bless I don't. How dare you speak the name of the Lord in such a manner? You should burn with your ugly statues in hell! Leave, now, or we see you out. Cue a lot of hateful language for what the Lord would be ashamed to hear, while they threw her and her family out. The poor baby did start to cry from all the commotion, where the father was angry about her, but he followed up. I also got, by some miracle, some pieces of cake that I really like. Apple pie if you want to know. And served with this story, it tasted all the world better. Man, you think Christmas time, cake, and they're there for a baptism celebration as well? Like this should be a time of peace and just enjoying yourself. But no, entitlement has to get mixed up with it all, and it all just becomes a tragedy. Demands for free cake, criticizing the craftsman's work. Do these people not realize that other people don't want those kinds of people there? Sometimes your expectations for things are wrong. Like, I don't know why you thought the cake would be free for you. Maybe it was an honest mistake. But if there was no reason to actually think so, it's not like they told you there was free cake, and now they've committed fraud and they're gonna make you pay for it. You just, for some reason, thought it was going to be free. When they tell you that it's not free, you need to adjust your expectations. Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.